Hi, I'm Mike Zale, Ogden Town Supervisor, and I'm back with a 10-minute Tuesday today on a topic that's pretty specific, and it's really asking this question: what does the town have authority over? What is the role of the supervisor, the town board? Do we have control over everything? I'll give you a quick answer. No, we don't. But I want to dive into this a little bit based on a couple conversations that I had actually today that really brought this to light. It's a topic I've wanted to explore for a bit. Down the road, I want to talk specifically about the roles of the town board versus the planning board versus the zoning board versus the conservation board. Who actually authorizes new construction projects? Again, the quick answer is it's actually not the town board, it's the planning board. But there's a metric to get to that I want to share and kind of explain all those different boards. This platform and our accessibility here at the town hall is kind of made a double-edged sword, right? I love that people come to us with questions that are all across the board because they know that we will help them one way, shape, or form, whether that's to direct them to the right place or answer the question directly. But the other side of that is that people really do think that we can just do anything and everything. And the truth is we really can't. We have limited elected powers, and those powers are really confined by like a town charter, the state code, town code, all those different various things. So I thought it'd make sense for us to kind of kick off this new month of February by just doing a couple educational pieces. But today, I think it's really, really, really important that people hear what is it that the town supervisor does, what is it that the town has authority over, and what does it not. So I went to the senior center today because there's a presentation by our assessor's office on exemptions. And some of the questions were just so good. And one of the big takeaways that the seniors had was, well, if the town has this exemption, then it works for everything, right? And the answer is no. We do not have jurisdiction over the school. We don't have jurisdiction over the county, the fire district, a lot of different things. So when the town has a higher exemption, which we did change just a couple of years ago, you don't get that exemption at the school unless the school decides to have that exemption. We have a veterans exemption. The school doesn't recognize a veterans exemption at this point. But I will tell you that the school is looking at a higher senior exemption like the town has. It was one of the first topics they brought up at their budget advisory group. And so I'm kind of hopeful that they'll go through that process and end up at a good spot. But I think these are questions that people have. They don't fully understand that the town doesn't decide all of these things. I know you pay all of your taxes at the town, but every taxing jurisdiction sets their own budget, their own tax rate, and their own exemptions for that matter. But there was one woman who asked me this question. It was perfect for this topic. She said, is the town really desperate for money? And I thought it was a weird question. I said, I mean, we could always use more, but no, not really. And she said, well, then why would you allow marijuana dispensaries? And I said, okay. Well, the town actually didn't allow a dispensary. The town opted out of that whole thing. There is no dispensary in the town of Ogden that has been approved by the town board. She said, well, there's one right down the street. I said, yes, but that is in the village, and the village has their own ability to govern the village. They have their own codes. They're very similar to ours, but they have their own codes. They have their own planning board, just like we have a planning board. Theirs is separate. They have their own permission. So they did not opt out of dispensaries, and that's why you have one. The town does not get to dictate what businesses go in the village. I know our friends right near this dispensary, the Fowlers that have the liquor store there, they petitioned to make sure that another liquor store didn't open up right down the road in the Tops Plaza, and everyone was writing us, and the truth is we don't get a say in what businesses go into the village. We just don't. So again, I think it's a great topic for us to discover what is it that the town does actually do and what do they not have jurisdiction on. I actually wanted to start by showing just a map of the town. So here we have a map of the town. You'll notice that it's a pretty big town. And this gray area right in the middle here, that's the village. And that's it. I think most people, when they think the town, they think the village of Spencerport. And of course, the village of Spencerport is within the town, but it is its own separate governing entity. So the codes that happen in the village are they're probably very similar to ours, but we don't have jurisdiction over those. The village does. The village board and the village mayor, they put their own code into place. They have their own criteria for building and for design, and they have their own fees for certain things. Now, we share a police department. We share a town court. We don't have a separate village court. So we share a lot of services back and forth, and actually we work really well with the village. I know not every town in village gets along super perfect, but we've got a great relationship with our village. We share a lot of services, and we save a lot of money by doing that between the village and the town as well. There's one other map that I want to show you because we often get a lot of comments about the roads, whether they're being plowed the right way or the potholes and things of that nature. I just got to tell you this. If there's a major pothole and it's been there for a really long time, it's not a town road. It's not a village road either, because we are on that stuff like crazy. Where we really find those bigger issues are on county and state roads. And I'm not, again, just trying to throw shade. I'm just trying to be factual. 259, which it goes right down the middle of our town and our village, that is a state road. We do not have jurisdiction. The village does not have jurisdiction. So when they took forever to paint the lines and to fix some of the potholes, we petitioned the state for sure, but we do not get to demand to them to do work on their own roads. So you have state roads, you have village roads, you have town roads, you have county roads, and you have private roads. The only ones that the town has jurisdiction over are the town roads. What makes this equally confusing is that in a lot of these roads, some of them, they start as a jurisdiction in one point, and then it changes. For instance, right near where I live, you've got Big Ridge Road, and you can see this legend here, the key, and you see the state is the red, the county is the solid, darker black line, the local, meaning the town, and it could be village as well, is a little bit thin, private is dotted. So if you look at Big Ridge Road, on the west side of this road here, of Gillette, you see a thicker road. That's because that's a county road. And then across the street, the second Big Ridge becomes a town road. Same with Gillette. You remember, because I remember the Gillette Road Bridge, CSX Bridge situation. You'll notice that all down here is it's a county road through Route 31, Spencerport Road, Nichols Street, same thing. But as it goes much further past Shepherd, it becomes a town road. So you have to understand that not everything is in the town's jurisdiction. We obviously receive calls on all jurisdictions, and we certainly direct people in the right way. But I think all this to say that you're welcome to reach out to our office and ask these questions. But just so you know, we certainly aren't the ones that make every decision that happens. We certainly don't take responsibility for anything that's outside of our jurisdiction. But being a former educator, it's really important to me as I'm listening to what people are saying, to, instead of being defensive and saying, wow, that's really mean or whatever, to just say, here are the facts, and just educate the public on what is something we can do and what isn't. So you remember down on 259, I petitioned the state to at least take a look at and do a traffic study of 259 in the intersection of Ogden-Parma Town Line Road. They got back to me. They're not going to do anything. Within the last 3 years, there have been 2 fender benders and 1 person that slid off the side of the road. And because there aren't more serious accidents, they don't feel like it's a very dangerous intersection. You and I can disagree on that. But therein lies the fact that the town does not have jurisdiction over roads that don't belong to us. And Ogden-Parma Town Line Road being a county road, and at least at that intersection, and 259 being a state road, we really don't have jurisdiction over that road. And again, that's kind of the whole premise of this discussion, is what is within our authority to just make it happen and what isn't. So this is really important. Save this video. I hope you watch it more than once so that it really just sort of starts to make sense in your mind that the town does not necessarily just have authority and jurisdiction over the entire border of the town itself. Well, thank you so much for watching. I hope this was educational for you. I hope that you're here to learn more and more about town government and operations, because the next one that I do is going to be really, really meaningful. I think it'll go a long way to helping us understand just how a construction project can go from start to finish and come to full fruition. So hopefully you'll join us in the very next video, and I hope to see you then. Thanks so much. Take care. Bye-bye.